Hi, welcome back to the Spirit's Path. This is Dee, and today's tarot card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck is the Five of Vessels in Ecstasy. And when I thought about this card and meditated on it today, it didn't come across to me as a card of dancing, right? Because normally when I talk about this, it's just letting yourself be free, letting it be part of the, you're being part of the universe, connecting with your higher self, and just dancing. But today, it's more about releasing yourself to spirit. Okay, and it could be in a form of dance, but what really caught my attention was the pentagram. And then as I studied it and meditated upon it, I asked myself, I said, well, this is not a green man, this is not a green woman, this is not the traveler, all right, or you in the journey, but what is this? And the answer that I got was a shaman, holding the different, the rattle and the staff. And, here they're dancing, I'm going to say a Batman tune, dancing underneath the pale moonlight, right? I think it's, have you ever danced with the devil underneath the pale moonlight? But here she's dancing underneath, the moonlight with the pentagram lighting her up, okay? And everything's pointed forward. Everything's pointed upward. And, if you combine that with that Ace of Arrows, that breath of life force the other day, the breath of life, as it's moving up, right? So, I do feel that you're getting out of this funk, this intellectual, being caught on the stones and just, oh my gosh, this woe is me. Okay, and this is a part of your spiritual journey now. This is a part of the journey as you're moving forward to where you're growing spiritually. So, when that happens, when you set out on your path, we all want riches, we all want great relationships, an awesome job, and to be creative and have loving relationships in our family and everything like that. But we were brought into this world in an aspect of love. Spirit has brought us into this great dynamics with your parents. Spirit has brought, other people into your life that has helped your spiritual development, no matter what type of religion you're on or in, or, whatever your upbringing was. Spirit is always there. Okay, and as you get older, you start to discern a little bit more on what that spirit is for you and on your spiritual path, on your spiritual growth. And everybody's journey is going to be different. Some get there faster, some get there slower, some take, a lot of time in certain areas of, their awakening and understanding, how to move forward. But yesterday we had that Knight of Vessels come up, that eel. And, with that, the one thing that I didn't mention is the sword that's in the rock. It kind of reminds me of, the Arthurian legend of him pulling that sword from the rock. Okay, now to me, it's, let's just say that's the Ace of Swords. That's all about clarity, a new opportunity in clear conscience, a new opportunity in clear messages, a new opportunity to gain clarity on your spiritual path. And as you've delved into that a little bit and understood the clarity, maybe something just snapped, okay? And you're saying, you know what? You're right. I do have a little bit, a clearer vision of where I want to go spiritually. All right, and the Spirit's path is all about taking that journey, taking that step by step by step, whether that's through a forest, whether that's through a desert, whether that's through a city, okay? Through that spiritual growth, you have to go through different phases. And those are just like challenges or obstacles. I can't tell you what the name of the phases are because I'm going through this myself, and I probably end up studying a little bit more. But at the same time, when Spirit starts talking to you and you start growing and you feel that sense of I'm going in the right direction, you know it. You know it in your heart. You know it in your intuition. All right, and you can see the signs. You can hear it when the birds are out in the yard. The chittering of the squirrel, right? The crickets at night. all whispering you the message from the universe. You may see it in dreams, okay, from past loved ones, from people you went to school with, okay, from people you've worked with. Everybody that you've touched in your lifetime has been a spiritual connection. A spiritual connection of learning messages, giving messages, okay, getting teaching, getting learning, understanding the development as you're moving forward. Now, as day to day, you're probably not recognize it. But when you are able to sit back, okay, and look at the people you touched and look at the messages that they gave you, it's profound. All to help with your development in some way, in all aspects of your life. And it may only been a small part on your spiritual path. I know one of the biggest lessons that I learned was many years ago. I was seeking to find my place in the world. And I, connected with a spirit guide, and ended up going out to Hawaii to understand more, from that spirit. And ended up by the creator, that's erupting right now. Stayed in that park, and that's where I found the world tree. For me, I sat there. I understood it. I felt the earth calling to me. I could feel the wind through my hair. All the elements were there. Pele was there. And the message was, you've got great strength. You got great courage. Continue moving forward in your development, your spiritual development, your spiritual growth. We will be here to guide you along the way. And, what seemed like hours in that trance was only, mere seconds through that meditation. And that's carried me to the level of where I'm at today. Knowing that those guides are continuously guiding me. And understanding, okay, that a tree can be profound in your spiritual development. The connection of the earth, the saltiness of the water, the breeze in the air carrying, the dust in the water from the ocean, and then the fire of Pele. There wasn't no great fountains or anything like that like there are today, but just to be in the presence of something that's natural, right? That, where stuff is it's the earth, it's moving, okay? Opens up your experiences to life, opens up, how really minuscule we are in this world. Okay, we're all fragments of dust, and we're all going to go back to that dust. Okay, this body is just a vessel. Okay, and we can take, we can be celebratory in that. Okay, we can take on that shamanistic attitude like, this dancer here, and revel in the ecstasy of being part of something that's so much bigger than what we are. And when we start understanding that beat of the universe, and our soul starts getting more involved with it, and you can hear the thump, 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 and you become one with the music, you gain that energy. You become intoxicated by that energy. That personal connection that you have with spirit just opens you up to fill you up with more spiritual energy, more spiritual guidance, more spiritual breath, all right? More spiritual psychic energy, emotional energy. Because you're connecting just not with your loved ones in the universe, you're connecting with everybody that's out there. Whether you know it or not, those connections are strong. And you become enlightened, all right? And, again, most of us don't find that moment until, it's that Zen moment through exercise or whatever. And, then you realize you're one with spirit and the universe. Your soul right now is at a place where it's like, you know what? We've brought all this, in, we've grown, it's time to take the next step. Okay? So dance in that ecstasy, dance in that enlightenment, and enjoy the spiritual growth that you've, taken on here the last couple weeks. enjoy and be grateful for the spiritual growth that you have moving forward. So that's today's card of the day, the Five of Vessels and Ecstasy, out of the Wildwood Tarot deck. Hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, give me a thumbs up. This is D for Spirit's Path. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care. God bless. Stay safe, everybody.